Last week, INEC criticized premature campaigns by political parties ahead of the next elections. The electoral umpire, however, said its hands are tied, which means it cannot prosecute offenders, citing Section 94(1) of the Electoral Act 2022, which stipulates that 150-day campaign period. The chairman of the commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, revealed that there is no sanction whatsoever concerning breaches for campaigns earlier than 150 days to the election. However, Falana wants INEC to map out plans to counter the illegality. To help us put this into perspective, we are joined by legal practitioner Elvis Asia. Elvis, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us again. What legal merits does Femi Falana's assertion have that INEC is required to charge violators to court? Is this a statutory obligation or is it discretionary power?
I think INEC's position, feigning incapacity in the face of blatant campaigns by politicians that has clearly undermined governance in the country, is really very sad, because if you look at the Constitution and the Electoral Act, there are provisions there that INEC can invoke to try to control campaigns outside of the prescribed period. There's a provision that in the Electoral Act that punishes campaigns outside of the window. So INEC should be able to invoke those provisions. So if you look at Section 83 all the way to 89 or thereabout, the Electoral Act, there are so many provisions that INEC can explore. INEC also has the mandate to control campaign spending by political parties. So how do you control campaign spending by political parties if you don't have a hand on the way and manner campaigns are done? And let's even face it, beyond the penalties and enforcement as provided by law, I don't think that you need to charge somebody to court, into a criminal court. That's not the only way to enforce the law. These things are a matter of culture, behavior over time, and they can be corrected by other means, other innovative strategies. By INEC, for example, if you publish names of political parties that are in violations, for example, regularly, and that's something that can be done. And then there's a very powerful provision in the Electoral Act that enables INEC to write political parties to ask questions, and that provision is a very powerful tool that INEC can utilize when INEC comes across illegal campaigns, such as what we are seeing in the political space today. INEC can write the affected political parties. I listened to somebody from INEC who claims that, well, we don't really know who is behind this. They are doing it through third parties. It doesn't matter whether it's being done through third parties. The language of the law, particularly the Electoral Act, is such that even where once it's being done on behalf of a political party,
okay,
INEC should be able to call that a question.
Now, Elvis, in practice, how effective has INEC been in enforcing campaign rules through legal action? Let's go there.
INEC has been grossly ineffective. INEC has been a toothless bulldog. I don't even think they talk, so I don't even know what to say is a toothless bulldog. INEC has essentially been in the pockets of politicians. Because if you see the kind of power that INEC has the power to determine how political parties are run, their finances, and then their campaigns. And nothing is being done in this regard. The only thing you hear from INEC is, some candidates are being substituted, somebody is bringing. But the fundamental duty of INEC to control campaign spending, to control campaigns itself, nothing is being done. I am not aware of any formal action, any step, whether formal in terms of enforcement of the relevant penalties or whatever under the law, or in terms of innovative solutions that creatively discourage the practice. INEC hasn't done any of this. What we hear is INEC complaining about the incapacity. I mean, what the real issue is that INEC is unable to put in check the major political parties, particularly the political parties that control the governance at the center. And that's what the problem is. They are unable to do that. And that is why we have seen all the things we are seeing today in the political space. They should just tell us that they don't have the balls to challenge the APC at the federal level, or the PDP and other political parties at the state levels, to ensure that the right things are done. If the Constitution says something should be done, it's not just for the fun of it. It is the Constitution is the ground norm of every nation, and if it is not complied with, then we are all at risk.
Okay. So,
what other provisions of the Constitution are we not going to comply with?
So, Elvis, INEC has said that there is no punishment for people who engage in early politicking for 2027. But do you think that if they were to successfully prosecute early campaigners, that it should lead to disqualification of candidates or parties from an election? Should that be the case?
Well, I think, in that regard, I think going forward, we need to perhaps rejig our electoral laws, to make it a condition. Because I know that for some of us that, even at the level of association elections, for example, and constitutions, if you commit an infraction of the rules guarding the campaigns, you can be disqualified, right? But I don't think INEC has that direct powers under the current legal framework. Perhaps, in a future attempt to review the laws, we may need to look at that. I think the reason why politicians are afraid of that is that the powers that be, those who control the INEC, and let's be real, that's what happens to reality, might use it against others, like we have seen in the distant past of the PDP years. Perhaps that's why politicians are afraid to give INEC the powers to disqualify any candidate. So you have to go to court to be able to disqualify a candidate. But there has to be some creative provisions that can allow INEC at least to question.
Do you think any of this can be put in? Do you think
to question those actions? But INEC should be able to take other steps. And like I said, there is a provision actually that INEC can use to hold people accountable.
So do you think all of this can come into play before 2027?
Well, unfortunately, whether or not something can come into play is not a matter of how difficult or it is. It's a matter of whether or not the politicians are ready. In fact, it's a matter of whether or not the president will allow it. Let's be real. Sometimes we try to dance around the corner. If the political powers that be, if there's political will, there's something that cannot be achieved.
Okay, then I think
we have seen the president passing bills in 2 days, getting loans in 24 hours from National Assembly. If he puts his mind to it, there can be an amendment of the
Electoral Act before
2027.
All right, then, Elvis. Elvis, thank you very much for giving us your expert advice on the matter here today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on the program.